No, actually, my my like I got disconnected for a second there. Um, I don't really know why, but I will say this though. Um, my internet has not been very stable these past few days, and you'll be surprised maybe to know that the reason is because it's been rainy. Yeah, I do live in a place where uh, stuff like rain just brings the whole system down. So internet has been very wonky lately. Yeah, so that's what happened. My internet had just been very wonky. And unfortunately, that is one of the limitations I have as a streamer now, and it's that I don't have the best internet to do this. Like, it's not like I have the best connection. But then I watch like some YouTubers that I enjoy or stuff like that that also do Twitch and everything, and I see that I don't have the worst internet. No, I just have 10 megabytes download. Oh, good morning, Kaito. I only have 10 megabytes download, and the worst part is I only have like 1 point something megabytes upload. So uploading for me is a matter of patience. And I suppose live streaming is really just not something I should be doing. Like, I should be just pre-recording these videos and uploading them to YouTube. Then again, if Twitch is putting ads, like, doesn't that mean I don't know how it works. If Twitch puts ads, doesn't that mean that I get paid? Or does that not, like, work that way? I don't know. I mean, I'm still not monetizing anything. I want to, but not yet. I mean, we don't even have 10 viewers at the moment. Like, why would I? That's interesting. Okay, Mr. McAllister says that he used to work at a startup that did wireless broadband internet, like multiple kilometers distance, about 10 years ago, and their biggest nemesis was leaves. The biggest pain in the ass. That's interesting. Well, yeah, apparently my internet's biggest nemesis is rain. Yeah, it just rains and the internet sucks right away. I don't know. I mean, it kind of surprises me that it's 2015 and like the world still comes to a halt when it rains. Just kind of makes no sense to me, but then again, what do I know? So anyway, I was talking about plans for the rest of the year. Basically, doing commissions, broadcasting, and working on several projects that I have that you guys will find out soon enough, but Patreons will find out about sooner. But still, what are you? I mean, like, what plans do you guys have for this season? What are you guys gonna be up to? Oh man, I should have gotten something to drink before I started. Yodel says that they hate time zones. Just wanted to throw that out there. They are annoying. But like, unfortunately, that is kind of the shape of the world. So I don't really think there's much we can do about time zones, Yodel. I think you're just gonna have to learn to deal with it. Sorry. Vaughn said, oh, okay, wow, we do have plans. Gregory says that my plan is keeping my job for now. And when the time comes, open a food truck. I'm a baker. Oh, that's cool. My girlfriend is a baker, too. I mean, well, no, not really. She's a pastry chef. But it's similar. It's similar. Vaughn says, gonna have the family over for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I got my parents addicted to Cards Against Humanity. Oh, that's awesome. I actually played Cards Against Humanity, once. It was a few years ago. I was in Connecticut. I was at a Connecticut convention called Connecticon. A lot of fun, by the way. I recommend it highly. If like anybody's in the zone of Connecticut, I recommend Connecticon a lot. But yeah, I got a chance to play Cards Against Humanity, and oh man, it was so much fun. It was such a good time. I think it's kind of sad that they've kind of had to give in to political correctness with some cards, especially since like I always thought that the name of the game was precisely to not be politically correct. But I do love the game, and I had so much fun playing it. I was even tempted to get like my own deck and bring it here, but I have to admit that the game. I have to admit that Cards Against Humanity is a very American game. Like the stuff it has, like the contents of the game is very, very American. So I thought about bringing Cards Against Humanity to my country to play it here with. I'm not very much a people person, but still, you get it. But then I thought, like, you know, nobody would get it. Like, just a few people would get it. Those of us that are like more focused on American culture and stuff like that, but most people probably wouldn't. A lot of the jokes in it and everything like that. It's a very American game, to be honest. I love it, but it's very American. I'm not sure if the people watching agree or disagree. Feel free to state your opinion. But from the point of view of this foreigner, Cards Against Humanity is a brilliant game. I love it, but if you're not aware of like American culture, and I don't just mean like current pop culture, I mean like just if you didn't grow up in the US, Cards Against Humanity is a totally different game for you. Uh, Mr. McAllister says that Exploding Kittens is an awesome game. I have been curious about it because I've always been a fan of the oatmeal, but like I don't get that much into like those kind of games basically because I don't at this moment in my life have a lot of people to play them with. So, just kind of let them slide and stuff like that, but I have been curious about Exploding Kittens. I mean, besides, it was such a success that you have to be curious. Do I have anything to drink? I'm really thirsty. Uh, oh yeah, yeah. Like um, Gregory says that they're French and that the translated version works really well. Yeah, I have to admit, I have like this thing against translations. I I I don't know why, but I don't like them. Uh, so yeah, I kind of have problems playing translations. I kind of always want to play the original version of something, and if I don't know the language, which is pretty much any language that isn't Spanish or English, then I just kind of assume the attitude that okay, it's not for me. That's it. I know it's a very limited way of seeing things. Uh, but yeah, I don't know why. I just don't like translations. I'll take subtitles in movies. You know, I will use subtitles in movies, so I don't stop watching movies that are not in English or Spanish. Especially because Latin American cinema is not to my taste, to be honest. Uh, but yeah, I hate translations. Like, I will not watch a dubbed movie if my life depended on it. I hate dubbed movies. Uh, Yodel says the only translations they're okay with are Disney movies that they saw as a kid. Uh, you know, I'm not even okay with Disney movies translations, and I'll hand it to them. Like, I'm not a big Disney person. I'm not a big Disney fan. Uh, but I'll hand it to them. At least they put the effort into their translations. Like, they do put a lot of effort into it, and I'll give them that. I don't like it, and I will not watch a dubbed Disney movie anyway. But on the other hand, I do applaud them for at least putting in the extra effort. I do. Yes. I do applaud them for it. At least they put in the work. But I don't like it. And then again, I'm not really a big Disney movie fan. I'll say it. Frozen sucks. Yeah, I'll say it. Apparently that's that's not something I'm supposed to say, but I'll say it. Frozen sucks. Sorry if my opinion offends you, but Frozen sucks. Best Disney movie of recent times? Brave. Frozen can suck my ass. I'm sick and tired of that movie. And I'm not even saying that it sucks because the internet made me tired of it. The internet just made me realize how much more it sucks than... when I first started thinking that Frozen sucks, I was like, okay, maybe it's because I didn't have a good experience at the movie theater. That I was forced to watch it dubbed, and there were a lot of kids in the movie theater, and I hate kids. But, no. Then the internet just helped me confirm that Frozen sucks. Hate that damn movie. And look, I can live with the fact that the internet wants to cling to a Disney movie. Yes, go ahead. Cling to a Disney movie all you want. Cling to Brave. Brave is such a better movie. It's so much better. Okay, Frozen has female protagonists, and they're a good example for kids. Brave is such a better example for little kids. Brave has such a better protagonist than Frozen. It has such a better moral lesson, if that's what you're looking for. Brave is just better in every single way. And Frozen sucks. Yeah, so deal with it. And this is one of those moments where I wish I could do like the whole neck swivel thing, like But I can't do that. I have no skill in doing a neck swivel. So I'll just say that Frozen sucks, and I'll have to leave it at that, because I can't neck swivel. Wish I could. I could be sassy. But I'm not sassy. I'm just bald. I'm bald and sassy. I'm actually just bald and sexy. You guys get my point. No, you know what, Gregory? I know everything. Yeah, it's just a matter of taste and all that. But I do genuinely think that, in objective terms, Brave is a much better movie. And I do think that if people are looking for a movie for their little kids to kind of use as an example and stuff like that, kind of to teach their kids a lesson and stuff like that, I think Brave has a much better lesson, and Brave is much better in everything that Frozen sets out to do. So I objectively think that. I really think that it's not just a matter of taste. I really think that Brave is just an objectively better movie, and it would be a much better movie for kids to get obsessed with. And if we're all just gonna get obsessed with a Disney movie, it should be, well, a recent Disney movie, it should be Brave. The internet does have that bad kind of custom of just grabbing everything and running it into the ground with obsession. But I can understand the obsession in certain movies, in the case of certain movies, especially Disney movies, movies like Lion King, yes. I can understand the obsession with Lion King. I love The Lion King. It's an awesome movie. I love Brave. It's probably one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. So yeah, I do kind of understand where all that comes from. But in the case of Frozen, it's like this just came at the right time. And I understand that there's also value in that. But I think Frozen was just a matter of right place, right time. So I think actually in that we're in total agreement, because what you just said in the chat room is kind of like what I'm saying. People are just I don't know, and don't get me wrong, Frozen is not I was bored while I was watching it, but for reasons totally that totally had nothing to do with the movie. Okay, wait. I do think it's sad, though, that people get obsessed with some Disney movies and others they don't. And, I mean, I know how the industry works, and I know that there's plenty of reasons why, beyond just the quality of the movies, people get obsessed with one movie over the other. But I think that there's certain Disney movies that just kind of got left out. And I think it's sad because, in most cases, they're some of my favorite movies. Movies like The Black Cauldron. I fucking loved The Black Cauldron. I thought The Black Cauldron was amazing. And you never see much love for The Black Cauldron. You never see, people really kind of professing as much love as they should for The Black Cauldron. Same thing for The Sword in the Stone. I loved The Sword in the Stone, and you never see a lot of love for The Sword in the Stone. I also I have very fond memories of Robin Hood as a kid, and I don't see a lot of love for Robin Hood. So yeah, there's like I know there's reasons that Disney like favors some of its movies over others. Sometimes it's just because some were bigger hits than others or stuff like that. But there are it seems to be that most of the Disney movies that I find to be my favorite are the Disney movies that they eventually like end up forgetting about. Like the Black Cauldron and Robin Hood, and also um, oh, interesting. Yodel in the chat room says that they think we can sum this up quicker, and now I'm curious. How? That may also be, well, Gregoriev says that may also be linked to the fact that they came out before the internet was big, so they just skipped the opportunity to use the enthusiasm of peoples at the right time. Yeah, but that's also interesting to me because the internet also allowed for the revival of a lot of stuff. People managed to kind of revive certain obsession of stuff that maybe they missed when it came out, but the internet kind of allows you to watch them again. Oh, okay. Yodel's argument is actually very interesting, but it's a little bit not entirely true. Some of them, okay, what Yodel says in the chat room is that I think the Disney movies from when I was emotionally more accessible are better than the movies from when current generations were emotionally accessible. And I think that is only partially true. Exactly because of what Gregoriev is saying right before that, which is the internet makes a lot of these things more readily available. Some of these movies are actually movies from my childhood, like Robin Hood. Robin Hood is a movie from my childhood. But other movies, other classic Disney movies, are not movies from my childhood. They are movies that I watched more recently, with the help of the internet. Or movies that I watched older, not like just yesterday or something like that, but for example, The Sword in the Stone. I watched The Sword in the Stone as a grown man through the Disney Channel. Yeah, I mean they did kind of show it on the Disney Channel, so that's where I watched The Sword in the Stone. The Sword in the Stone. The Black Cauldron is actually a movie I had never been able to watch because I played the video game. There's actually a Black Cauldron video game. Very, very, very old. I'm talking. Let me actually check how old the Black Cauldron video game is. We are talking. Black Cauldron video game, 1985. Yeah, 1985 video game. That was my experience with the Black Cauldron. So a lot of these movies I actually watched as an adult, and I don't consider them to be flawless. I just consider that some movies are okay. I got an example to prove you wrong, and actually I have two. And keep in mind that I'm not actually saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that you're not entirely right. There's a difference. Two of my favorite Disney movies are Brave and Wreck-It Ralph. And Wreck-It Ralph is weird with Disney because they really like just kind of forgot about it, and it's very recent. Wreck-It Ralph is just a couple of years ago. But yeah, you know, Disney kind of just went like, yeah, fuck that movie. And I mean, I don't know, like there can be a bunch of reasons. Maybe it didn't do well, or anything like that. But Wreck-It Ralph was a movie that Disney just went like, yeah, no, we never heard of it. And I loved Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph was so amazing. Now, Wreck-It Ralph, for example, is a movie that I liked precisely because it touched all my sensibilities, all the sensibilities of my age group, I guess, would be a way to put it. Yeah, exactly. Wreck-It Ralph, as Yodel says, Wreck-It Ralph is a monster of nostalgia. So I did love it, but I am aware of why I loved it. Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph was definitely for my age group. That one I can kind of understand why, like, they would not be as excited about it. Because Wreck-It Ralph was kind of just a love letter to my generation. And the sad reality is that my generation, people like me that, you know, like video games and that kind of stuff and all that, we're not the majority. Most of my generation just kind of grew up and became adults, and they're not into cartoons anymore and stuff like that. It's sad, but it's true. So yeah, I can understand, like, you know, I can understand why Wreck-It Ralph is kind of like just, like, yeah, you know, okay, this is for you guys, here you go, here's your nostalgia movie, now shut up. So, yeah, you know, I can kind of get that one. But in the case of Brave, that one is like, okay, what's up with Brave? And, I mean, okay, granted, they do kind of, yeah, they do give Brave a little bit of love. But these other movies that are like Disney classics, like The Black Cauldron and Robin Hood, and The Sword and the Stone, and Los Tres Caballeros, you know, or The Three Caballeros. I don't remember if it was Los Tres Caballeros or The Three Caballeros. Then again, I have to admit I haven't watched The Three Caballeros lately, so it might not be the most politically correct movie nowadays. I don't know if any of you have had the opportunity to watch Los Tres Caballeros. It's it's not the. Okay, Spelunking, thank you. And good morning, by the way. Yeah, Los Tres Caballeros. I loved that movie as a kid. But I haven't seen it in a while, but I kind of remember maybe reading some article or seeing something on the internet where they would kind of show like that movie would just not fly today. You know, in terms of political correctness, it just would not fly. Oh, I highly recommend Los Tres Caballeros. It's a very weird Disney movie. It mixes animation and live action stuff. It's a Donald Duck movie with other birds. It's Donald Duck and other birds. There's a well, it's not a parrot. It's a South American bird that's like a parrot called guacamaja, and the other bird, I can't remember what the other bird is. I think it's maybe a rooster. Thinking, I don't know. Anyway, it's like three birds: Donald Duck and two other Latin American birds, and it's got like this whole Mexican theme to it. It's really cool. I love that movie. But yeah, I don't think it's very politically correct nowadays, so I can kind of see where they kind of discarded that one. um, I also remember, like, there were a lot of Disney movies that I remember from my childhood that kind of got forgotten. Some of them, like, for very good reason. Like, for example, when I was a kid, I remember uh, I loved Herbie the Love Bug. you know, I used to love Herbie the Love Bug, and oh, I'm guessing Lindsay Lohan happened or something. I don't know. I know they tried to remake them and to kind of bring it back, and I'm not sure if that worked at all. I'm not even sure if Lindsay Lohan had anything to do with them, like not. Uh, I'm not even sure if Lindsay Lohan has anything to do with the results of that movie, but yeah, I was not into the reboots of Herbie the Love Bug. I guess it didn't quite scratch that nostalgia itch. I think Herbie the Love Bug was definitely a product of its time, and that the world is really not into a movie like Herbie the Love Bug anymore. Uh, Actually, I think that same thing. Well, I mean, it's just a theory, and I don't know much about this. I'm not a pop culture analyst. Then again, most of the people that call themselves pop culture analysts are not pop culture analysts either. But I think the same thing happened with Knight Rider. Uh, when I was a kid, I was such a huge fan of the Knight Rider. I loved the Knight Rider. And I thought David Hasselhoff was one of the coolest guys on the planet. So that just goes to show what what kind of times we were living in. uh, yeah, I loved Knight Rider. It was so awesome as a kid, and I had the Knight Rider toy car, and I even had a Knight Rider digital watch. And I remember when I got it for my birthday, I thought it was like gonna talk to me and stuff like that, or at least make like the car noises and stuff like that. And it didn't. It didn't. It was just a digital watch that had like a Knight Rider theme on it. And but I love that watch. And of course, it doesn't exist anymore. Those digital watches were not exactly made to last. But I did see like the Knight Rider reboot, which was I think it was with a Mustang, and it just didn't work. And I think that's because Knight Rider would only have worked in the 80s. I see in the chat room the question: Did I have I seen Kung Fury? Yes, several times actually. Uh, it is awesome. It is amazing. I will say, I will openly say, at the risk of being very unpopular, that I think it's tremendously overrated. I think nostalgia got the best of us with Kung Fury, but it was a lot of fun. Like, I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I don't know if they're making like a full feature length film of it. I wish they would just leave it as it is. I think as it was good enough. But I did love it. I did watch it and love it and thought it was really cool and a lot of fun. Yeah, it's one of those things that you watch it and you're like, "Oh, this is so horrible, but it's fun and I'm enjoying it." But you're aware that it's horrible. So I think, Kung Fury was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it very much, but I think it needs to be left alone. We don't want to burn it, we don't want to waste it, and we definitely should not be making a full-length feature film out of it. I don't know if they are, but it kind of seems like one of those things that they would, right? It kind of seems like one of those things that they would make a full feature-length film out of it. And I'm not sure we can sustain that joke for 2 hours. Yeah, like most fun things. I think there's a lot of joke movies that would have been better as just. I think Kung Fury was the perfect length. It was short and sweet, and you can just watch it in half an hour, enjoy it, and get on with your life. Great. I thought it was perfect that way. And I do think that then getting David Hasselhoff to sing the theme song was just pure gold. Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know who would make a full length feature film out of Kung Fury, but doesn't it seem like one of those things that somebody would kind of buy the rights to make it? It really does. I hope they don't, though. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna, but I hope they don't. Not because I don't wish them the best, just because I don't think it would work. So, this kind of gets me curious. I don't want to talk all this while about myself. Uh, what are you guys nostalgic about? Like that you're aware of? Because I'm pretty sure that we're all nostalgic about a bunch of stuff that we're not even aware that we're nostalgic about. But what are you aware that you're nostalgic about? That you're aware that maybe it's not that amazing, that maybe it's not that cool, but it just reminds you of a simpler time and your childhood and stuff like that. What are you nostalgic about? Okay, and I'll make the question even better, okay? What are you nostalgic about that you think would actually work if it were remade? And what are you nostalgic about that you think would be best if they just left it as it was? And I think that's actually a very pertinent question right now because I understand that the Gem movie, like, totally flopped. Like, that thing was just not. I haven't watched it, so I'm not going to give any definitive opinions on it. But from what I read of reviews and stuff, it kind of flopped. So I don't know if maybe I'll watch it and I'll love it. That happens a lot. That critics don't like a movie and I love it. But from what I've been reading, didn't work out. So that kind of got me thinking. Okay, what kind of things should we just leave alone, and what kind of things would work? What kind of things could we grab and make them work? And what is just best left where it was? So I see Yodel saying Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy book, not the movie. But I'm not sure if Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy works as nostalgia because I think we all agree, and not just we geeks, but I think everybody agrees that the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is amazing and like kind of an amazing book to read, even in spite of its age. I would argue that the movie is not bad. It's not amazing. I mean, it's not the best movie ever, but I don't think you can really make a movie that would make justice to that book, mostly because of the sheer scope of it. It's kind of a little bit huge for that. But I would argue that The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, like, if you like it, that's not really nostalgia. That's just you liking good literature. And for that matter, I think literature is very different in that regard, because literature, I don't know, literature kind of ages differently, I would say. Yodel says, oh no, wait. Okay. Uh, Gregory says the Power Rangers movie. I guess the Power Rangers movie fits in both categories. XD. But if they remade it, they could go for a grittier version, as some fan-made video got on YouTube, which was great. If you didn't see that Gritty Rangers, it is worth seeing. I did actually watch it. I thought it was a lot of fun. And I don't know if you knew this, Gregory, but they are actually remaking the Power Rangers. There is a movie coming out. I think that was actually one of the reasons that Power Rangers gritty kind of thing got a cease and desist, like, right away. Like, yeah, that thing, like, when that thing came out, which was pretty awesome, they got a cease and desist right away. And a lot of people theorize that the reason why is because they are making a new Power Rangers movie. So, I'm actually looking forward to it. I used to love the Power Rangers, and the thing is, like I was explaining in a past broadcast, I got into the Power Rangers way after I was of the target audience age for it. But I love Power Rangers, and I'm not going to apologize for it. I have not seen anything about the new movie. I don't know what it's going to be like, who's in it, or anything like that, and I'm honestly very cautiously optimistic about it. The thing about Power Rangers, and I think this is awesome actually, is that if it's not good, nobody's gonna care. Like, it's Power Rangers. Anybody that loves Power Rangers loves it, very much aware that it is just the cheesiest, corniest, cheapest. Like, Power Rangers is just one of those things that we love because it is so bad. And I actually think the movie has that going for it. That if it's good, we're all going to be very surprised. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I would be incredibly surprised if the Power Rangers movie is good. Like, if the new Power Rangers movie is good. You know, I would definitely go like, huh, no, I did not see that coming. Did not expect a new Power Rangers movie to be good. But on the other hand, if it's bad, we're all going to be like, yeah, it's Power Rangers. What do you expect? Why did you expect that to be good? And most of, you know, like I say, most of the people that love Power Rangers do so very much aware that Power Rangers is not a good movie. So, I think the movie has that going for it, really. If it's good, we'll be surprised. If it's bad, we won't be surprised. And I think the only way they can really screw that up if it's so monumentally bad that we are actually surprised by how bad it is. Which is very difficult considering it's Power Rangers. You know? It's not like, for example, when M. Night Shyamalan screwed up Avatar. Like, that surprised us. Because Avatar was an incredibly... Like, Avatar is still, to this date, probably one of my favorite animated series of all time. And quite possibly one of my favorite series, period. Not even... I mean, I don't even have to categorize it as animated. In general, it's one of my favorite series of all time. Avatar. So when M. Night Shyamalan screwed it up, he screwed up something that was, like, considered great. I say M. Night Shyamalan screwed it up, but, I mean, I don't know if he actually screwed it up. Like, it could have been screwed up by a lot of stuff. You know, not just him. It could have been screwed up by the studios, by the producers, by all that kind of stuff. But you guys know what I mean when I say that M. Night Shyamalan screwed it up. But yeah, Power Rangers would be a completely different situation because, like, nobody is sitting around talking about how amazing the Power Rangers were. We are all aware that they're not like super quality stuff. So if they screw it up, like, yeah, sure, okay, nothing broken. Nothing broken that wasn't already that way to begin with. Damn you, M. Night Shyamalan. I've heard that his, again, I haven't watched it, have to watch it, but I've heard that his latest movie is actually good. I mean, that it's not, like, amazing, that it's not incredible, but that it is actually, like, oh, wow, okay. It's a surprisingly good movie. I'm gonna have to watch it. Plus, it does look interesting. I did watch the trailer, and it does look interesting, I'll have to admit. I forget the name of the movie, though. Well, Gregory, I also agree with you. Like, why do they keep giving him films? But there you go. Like, his last movie is supposed to actually be good. I think maybe he just needs to be in his proper genre, and they just need to make him do his stuff. This last movie that he made that is supposed to be good is a horror movie. So, you know, it's... I haven't seen it, again, so I can't say firsthand that it's good. But it's supposed to be. Like, people are saying, like, oh, you know, it's a Shyamalan movie that's surprisingly good. And again, it's kind of like just... I think he's in his element when it's, like, awkward people in horror situations. And this last movie of his, from the trailer, it seems to be about a pair of kids. Well, not kids. Like, they look like teenagers, but they get sent to visit their grandparents. And apparently their grandparents are like, you know, their grandparents are not what they thought they were. Yes, Yodel, The Visit. Actually, from what I've read about it, like what people are criticizing of the movie is that it's a found footage movie, and it's like, you know, Shyamalan, you're a few years late to the found footage movie sensation thing. So, you know, a lot of people are saying that it would be a much better movie if it was not found footage. But that overall, it's... you know, that overall, it's a good movie. You know, that you can enjoy it. Which is more than I can say for most of his movies. The last movie of his that I saw was The Devil. About a bunch of people trapped in an elevator with the devil. And I was actually fooled in that movie. I thought it was going to be interesting, and it had a very promising premise. And I thought he was actually going to pull it off. He didn't. I will say this in his defense, though. I'll say this. And it's kind of funny that the guy that gave us a movie like The Sixth Sense and everything that I once thought was like an amazing director, he actually gave me two amazing movies, The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, which I think are amazing movies. So I will never forget that, Shyamalan. I'll never forget what you did to Avatar, but I'll never forget Sixth Sense and Unbreakable. Those are amazing movies that I love, and Unbreakable is actually one of my favorite movies. So, you know, there you go. I will say this in M. Night Shyamalan's defense, in spite of his horrible movies. I will say that, in spite of the bad movies he's made, I will always admire his willingness to try something different. His movies normally don't work. I mean, if we look at the average of his movies, they just don't work most of the time. But I do think that he's, like, tried some very interesting stuff. Lady in the Water did not work. But it was an interesting concept. The Village, I didn't think it worked. But again, interesting concept. And I think that's the thing with M. Night Shyamalan. I think he has interesting ideas. I just think he needs somebody along with him for the ride. you know, like somebody to kind of rein him in and I don't know, teach him how to make how to write a proper movie or direct a proper movie. I don't know. I'm not a movie director, you know, I'm not a film director, so what the fuck do I know? But I do think he has interesting ideas. You know, his all his flops are interesting, at least in concept. The Happening, for example. The Happening could have been such an amazing movie. Yes, plants turn against us. By the way, spoilers, but you know I don't think I can spoil The Happening. It's not a good movie. Uh, uh, you know, it's we should be able to spoil bad movies. And I guess the spoiler in The Happening is that it's bad. It's a real bad movie, but it could have been so interesting. You know, plant life turning against us. Wow, that could have been amazing. You know, that could have been an awesome setting for a movie. I think The Village didn't work, but it was also an awesome setting. I also think Signs didn't work, but yeah, that one just didn't work. That one just didn't work. Like, really? Water? For real? Okay. But yeah, so I'm actually gonna watch The Visit as soon as I can, and I'm curious. You know, I'm curious of M Night Shyamalan getting a movie to work again for him. So I wish I will say this: I wish I didn't know it was his, because I'm going in watching it very much aware that it is an M Night Shyamalan movie, and that will color my perspective of the movie a lot. So I wish I didn't know that. Like I wish I could watch it and kind of go like, "Oh, that was a great movie," and then go like, "Oh, fuck, it's an M Night Shyamalan movie? Who would have thought?" That would be great. That would be great. You know, because he's got like he's got such bad karma with me now that I'm like going in very much expecting it not to be very good, and I'll probably be looking for every single flaw in the movie. And I think that's just something the guy has to deal with now. It's his fault. So, okay, so, wow, okay, so today we talked about movies. Nice. Wow, we talk about everything on this show. Our morning show. So, okay. I like these topics. I like asking you guys questions. Probably more than you guys asking them to me. I love it when you answer me, though. So that brings me to another question, and why not? Okay. What what stuff do you like? Like for okay, Yodel says in the chat room that they think The Village wasn't as bad as people make it out to be. Okay. We spend a lot of time talking about stuff that's overrated, and like I'll be the first to make this huge list about stuff I think is overrated, and I'll start with the Beatles. Yeah, I said it. I said it. I think the Beatles are overrated. But I'm not. That's not what we're going to talk about. Let's talk about the opposite. Let's talk about stuff that we don't think are as bad as people make it out to be. You know, stuff that, like, okay, I watched it and really wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as most people make it out to be. So, what have you got? What do you think everybody hates, but you saw it or played it or heard it, and you're like, you know what? Not as bad as people think. Maybe because people lowered our expectations of it. Maybe because we genuinely think that it's good and we just don't see why people hate it so much. But what do you think is not as bad as people think? Okay, Gregorif. Yes, I do have a particular topic. Let's talk about movies and video games. And also, why not, music. Music, video games, and movies. Let's see about that, okay? Stuff that everybody seems to have hated, and you don't think it's amazing. Like, you don't have to think it's awesome. You don't have to think it's, like, the best thing ever. But just not as bad as people think it is. Just, okay, I'll agree it's not amazing, it's not good, but it's not as bad. I mean, you can watch it and enjoy it. Like, for example, I recently saw Pixels, and I'll agree, it's not a good movie. It's not. Not a good movie. It's not by any means, like, a great movie. But considering the amount of hate that movie got, no way. That movie made me laugh a couple of times. And, it's not, like, unwatchable. I saw it, chuckled a few times, and moved on with my life. I don't know why people hated Pixels so much. I mean, I'm pretty sure Adam Sandler is not expecting to win an Oscar from it. So, it had some genuinely funny moments. And good morning, Voltus. So, what do you guys think? Now, I'm gonna let you guys send me what you think are movies, music, and video game that get far too much hate than they deserve. Again, remember that it's not that you think is amazing, it's not that you think it's awesome, it's just you think people hate them more than they deserve. Like me with Pixels. I think it gets much more hate than it deserves. And while you post that so I can come back and read it, I'm gonna go grab something to drink because my throat is protesting. I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. Where did I put my, okay. I'll just grab the other glove. Okay, so, let's see what we got in the chat room. So, Gregory says, the movie Evolution with Duchovny. I actually enjoyed it, I think. I don't actually remember the movie, but I'm pretty sure the animated series that came of it was nice. Maybe. Okay, I have a Darth Vader sippy cup. Yes. I'll actually agree with that one, Gregory. If I remember, I don't remember much of Evolution with Duchovny, but I do remember laughing a little bit. You know, not like the best comedy I've ever seen, but you know, I remember watching it and thinking, yeah, you know, isn't half bad. Voltus says the movie Soldier with Kurt Russell. I will also agree with that. I remember watching it. I think I was a teenager when I watched it. And I guess it touched all my teenage sensibilities. And that actually reminds me of something I will mention in a minute that I think gets very unfair hate. And that's going to be controversial because I know most of the world is going to disagree with me, but... Well, actually, no. Most of the world is not going to care because we need to start being much more aware that most of the world doesn't really care about this stuff. But in any case, let's see what else we got. The old Battlefront games. You know, I never really played the old Battlefront games, so don't really know. Can't really talk about those. Oh, I'll agree with Voltus on this one. The 2011 Conan movie. You know, I don't really understand why that got so much hate. It was actually a good movie. Sure, it wasn't Schwarzenegger, but if anything, Jason Momoa is much more similar to what Conan is supposed to be than Schwarzenegger. And I think that's kind of funny when they remake like a movie that's based on a book, and the new movie is a lot more similar to the book, but people haven't read the book or anything like that, and they kind of are stuck on whatever the movie made them think it was supposed to be. And I think one example of that, which actually is pertinent to this topic we're talking about right now, would be Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You know, the latest Willy Wonka movie with Johnny Depp. A lot of people hated that movie, and I actually thought it was pretty good. Like, I haven't been a Tim Burton fan for a while, but I thought that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was actually pretty good, and it's a lot more like the book. You know, it's a lot more like the book than the movie that most people remember watching. So I'm like, okay, you know, I think when most people evaluate Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, they evaluate it based on what they feel about the 70s Willy Wonka. And I think Tim Burton made it more looking towards the book than he did looking towards Willy Wonka. So yeah, I think, you know, that one gets a lot of unfair hatred. Gregory says, the only part in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory I didn't like was Willy Wonka confronting his father. I just thought that part was forced. You know what? I think the movie didn't really need it, but it didn't really kind of ruin the movie for me. You know, I just think it didn't really need it. But then again, it did kind of explain a lot of why Willy Wonka is the way he is. You know, so I thought it did give kind of like... Because in the old movie, like, Willy Wonka is very, very mysterious, and we never, like, learn anything about him, or why he is, how he is, sorry, and all that kind of stuff. Uh, and I think, this part kind of gave you some insight into why Wonka was the way he was. So, I thought it was interesting. I think the movie really didn't. I think the movie maybe it kind of ruined the pace of the movie a little bit. But on the other hand, I do think it was interesting to learn a little bit more about the character. So, I'm kind of half and half on that, I guess. Okay, here, I'll defend. I'll defend something that I'm not sure if I'm going to have any takers among you. I'm going to defend Michael Bay movies. I think Michael Bay movies get a lot of unfair hatred. And I think that the problem most people have with Michael Bay movies, including Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and including Transformers, is that we're not the target. I mean, Michael Bay's target audience is not us. Michael Bay makes movies for little preteen boys. Boys that are about 12 to 15. That's the audience for Michael Bay movies. And I would argue that seen with those eyes, seen with the eyes of a person that is just kind of, okay, so this is a movie for, teenage and preteen boys. Those movies are perfect. Like, Transformers is... Okay, first of all, I love the Transformers movies. I will even watch the second one, even though I am aware that the second one is not really very good. But I will defend the first, third, and fourth movie. Especially the third. I thought the third was amazing. I will defend the fourth one because I think Wahlberg was a much better choice than stupid Shia LaBeouf. Although I do enjoy what Shia LaBeouf became. But anyway. Yeah, like... I think they're fun movies, and they're actually very well made. I mean, for what he does with them, these are not movies for people that are going to appreciate a good script. These are not movies for people that are going to appreciate profound meaning or anything like that. They're fucking giant robots that turn into cars kicking each other's asses. It's fun. It's fun, and it's fun for little preteen boys. And I think even Michael Bay said it once, like, why are they not a valid audience? Like, why can't I make... That somebody said, I might be mistaken here, but I think somebody once in an interview told him that, like, what did he say to the criticism that his movies were juvenile? And, if I'm not mistaken, he answered that, yes, that he was aware, in fact, that his movies were juvenile because they were movies for juvenile people. So, and that what was wrong with making movies for them. I agree. Why do little preteen boys have to be neglected as an audience? I know they got a lot of products. I know there's a lot of stuff made for little preteen boys, but, you can't really fault Michael Bay for wanting to sell more of that. So, there's that, and that's why I defend the Transformer movies, and even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was a preteen boy, and I'm pretty sure preteen me would have enjoyed it, the new one, and... And, I did. I enjoyed the last Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Let's see what else we have in the chat room. Yodel says, isn't Van Helsing ragged upon? A big problem with the question is that, okay, well, yeah, Van Helsing is criticized a lot. I also watched it. I also enjoyed it. I think I've even said here on the broadcast that it's not as bad as people say it is, and that it has a great soundtrack. An amazing soundtrack it has. The only problem I had with Van Helsing was the completely stupid ending. And not even the ending itself. By the way, spoilers if anybody's going to watch Van Helsing, but come on. The whole thing of, like, her face in the clouds stuff, that was, like, so incredibly corny that I was like, oh, wow, that kind of retroactively ruined the entire movie for me. Not really, but yeah, that kind of... Whenever I think of Van Helsing, I think of how corny that ending was. Gregory says, the fourth Transformers movie is Age of Extinction? Because that one, the dinosaur part, was completely sloppy. Optimus Prime saying, I will punch this guy until he helps me, which he proceeds to do, and they lived happily ever after. You know, yes, I agree with that, but again, I think that's just, you know, pre-teen kid movie logic. I've seen a lot of examples of, in many, many movies, yeah, you have to kick my ass before I agree to work with you. And, like, I remember in The Matrix, Reloaded, that I'm thinking 20-something, in my early 20s, when The Matrix Reloaded came out. Yeah, we're talking about 2000-something, and yeah, I was 20 in 2000, so yeah, I was in my 20-somethings when The Matrix Reloaded came out. And I remember the part where it's called the tea house fight, where Neo goes into the tea house, and Seraph picks a fight with him. And he has no reason. He has no reason to fight with him and everything. And then when he's done, and he's like, oh, yeah, I can see you're the one. And Neo's like, you know, you could have just asked. And the guy goes like, oh, you never really know a person until you fight them. Like, it's that same thing. It's like, yeah, you have to beat me before I can respect you. And all that kind of stuff. I remember as a 20-year-old watching The Matrix Reloaded and thinking, wow, that is so profound. Yes, it's true. You can never really know a person until you fight them. And thinking that made a lot of sense. Now, as an adult, as a 36-year-old man, I hear that and I'm like, what? What? No, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I mean, I get what they were trying to say, but no, that's not... Yeah, that was like a cheesy line. But I think that's kind of like the logic that they were using in the Transformers movie. Like, you know, Optimus Prime had to earn the respect of these... Oh shit, I forgot the name of the dinosaur Transformers. I apologize. But yes, Optimus Prime had to earn the respect of these dinosaurs, and the way he earns the respect of them is kicking their asses. Again, like, I think it doesn't make any sense now, but back then, it made a lot of sense to me. Like, yes, of course, you can never really know a person until you fight them. Yes, Seraph. And Seraph was actually one of my favorite Matrix characters. My favorites being Seraph and the twins. I thought the twins were awesome. And actually, that just brings me full circle to our subject here. I think a lot of things in The Matrix get unfair hate. And one of the things from The Matrix I think gets unfair hate are the twins. Like, everybody's always talking about how the twins were one of the worst parts in Reloaded. I think the only bad part about the twins was that they didn't use them more. I thought the twins were awesome. Again, the twins are very, very, very... I think 90s. I mean, I know The Matrix did not come out... I mean, the first Matrix came out in 99, but... I think the twins were very 90s. And it makes sense, because I think decades aren't actually... I think decades aren't actually from 0 to 0, but from 5 to 5. So I think that 2000 to 2005 were more 90s than 2000s. And I think like 90 from 95 were more 80s and stuff like that. I think that decades, kind of the style of a decade, is more from 5 to 5 than from 0 to 0. But then that's just like my theory. But yeah, the twins were very 90s, you know, dreadlocks, all that kind of stuff. And I thought the twins were an amazing character. Like, they were some of my favorite characters from the Matrix trilogy. I just thought the bad part was that they underused them. Then again, like, if you think about it, the twins never really died. Because, like, when you watch Reloaded, you can see as the explosion happens, you know, as the car explodes and they fly into the air, that they become their ghost form, which means that the twins didn't actually get destroyed. They're invulnerable in their ghost form, so you know. Let's see what else we have in the chat room. Whoa, okay, well, okay, let's see. Okay, Gregory says, TMNT, I watched the movie and I thought it was alright as a movie on its own, as long as you don't compare it to the rest of the TMNT stories. Except the old movies, of course, but they are so cheesy you can hardly not do better. Well, I agree 100%. But that's, I think, one of the problems, is that most people evaluate these things by comparing them to other things, and well, I do guess that's just how we evaluate things, but for example, my favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie is the animated 3D one that came out a little bit, not too long ago. That's actually called TMNT. That's my favorite Ninja Turtles movie. I don't care if this is a controversial opinion or something like that. I think that's my favorite Ninja Turtles movie. More than the old ones. The old ones are just pure nostalgia. And a lot of fun to watch. I still watch them and have a great laugh. But they're not really good. I mean, they are very, very much a product of their time. But the newer 3D animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, I remember watching it and thinking, you know, this is the way Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles should be done. It works perfectly. The animation style was great. I thought it was great. And kind of wanted to see more of that. The new one was fun for me. You know, I don't think it was a perfect movie or anything like that, but I think it was just it was fun. Let's see what else we got in the chat room. Okay, let's see. Okay, Gregory says, I would like to argue that, at least in the Matrix, there was a cheesy line. Saying that, you know, the Matrix at least had a cheesy line between Neo and Seraph, as opposed to Transformers, where there is absolutely no communication, not even a meaningful eye-to-eye contact or whatever. And as you say with the twins, same for the Dinobots, I believe that's their names. Yeah, that is their name. They deserve more screen time. I mean, I watched the damn movie to see dinosaur robots, and in less than 10 minutes, they are done. Gridlock, the T-Rex, not even saying a word because, yes, he can talk. Yeah, they were underused. I kind of got the feeling that they were more like being introduced, which I don't know if that's valid, if that's like worth anything. But I kind of got the vibe that the Dinobots were just being introduced. Like, okay, and here are the Dinobots. We'll use them in a later movie or something like that. I don't even know if they're making another Transformers movie. I think that at this point, as much as I defend Michael Bay, because I Like, I built an entire topic around my defense of Michael Bay. As much as I defend Michael Bay from his detractors, I think that the next proper move with Transformers would be to have a new movie made by somebody else. Again, I like the Michael Bay movies, but I think they need to give it to somebody else so people can just fucking shut up about it. Like, we get it. You don't like Michael Bay for some reason. I don't know what Michael Bay did to you or whatever. But, yeah, just give it to another person. Like what they did with Star Wars. And I do remember somebody saying up there, I'm going to have to check and see who it was, but somebody said, Yodel says Star Wars Episodes 1 and 3. There is one I'm sure in general people seem to hate. Again, I also agree. Star Wars Episodes 1 and 3, I think they get far more hate than they deserve. I would not consider them to be perfect movies by any standard, but I don't think they're as bad as people make them out to be. They're not as good, yeah, but not quite the failure people seem to make them out to be. But I think they did well. Like, yeah, you know, let's just give it to somebody else so people can shut up about it. And they did. They give it to J.J. Abrams, and, well, I'm not gonna celebrate yet. I think it looks amazing. I am super hyped for our new Star Wars movie. I already have my tickets. I already bought my tickets. I have my tickets to Star Wars already. I am looking forward to Star Wars Day. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But I'm not gonna, like, sing victory yet. You know, I don't know if it's good. It's probably gonna be good. It looks good, but let's just wait and see. But I do think that was the right choice. Like, okay, you know what? People are not going to shut up about George Lucas. Let's give it to somebody else. I mean, George Lucas didn't want to make them anymore and all that kind of stuff, so it's different. But still, you know, okay, give them to somebody else, and that's what they needed to do, because now people don't have the possibility of complaining about George Lucas. I think they need to do the same with the Transformers movie. Just, like, okay, somebody that's not Michael Bay, direct them. And I assure you, even if they're exactly the same as a Michael Bay movie... Well, no, actually no, because people are just going to compare it to Michael Bay movies. But, I mean, you guys know what I mean. I think a lot of the hatred Star Wars gets is... Transformers get has to do with the fact that it's Michael Bay in front of them. Same thing happened with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the fun thing is it wasn't even directed by Michael Bay. It was produced by him. The director was somebody else. I don't remember the guy's name. But people just saw Michael Bay's name, and they're like, oh no, Michael Bay. I also think it's very annoying, and this is another thing I'm going to defend, the designs of the Transformers. Look, I had Transformers as a kid. I played with Transformers my entire childhood. I'm sorry. The designs of the toys would not work in this movie. It would not look good. You know, it just wouldn't. And maybe they are over-designed. I will agree to that. They are over-designed in many cases. But I think they got better as the movies went on. Like, you watch the first Transformers movie, and you do not know who is who in that movie. Like, you can tell Optimus Prime apart because of the color scheme, and that's it. But in later Transformers movie, they really kind of got the hang of it, and you can tell the robots apart, and they learn to kind of move out the camera when they fight, and all that kind of stuff, so, you know, I'll defend that. Yodel says in the chat room that Star Wars Episode 1 was an adventure. Felt like a role-playing game session. Yeah, you know, it does kind of have that rhythm to it. I do agree to that. Definitely agree to that. I think, like a lot of people, the only thing I didn't really like about Star Wars prequels was that I thought Anakin was annoying. But then again, I thought he was annoying, yes. But what did you expect? Like, the guy that eventually turns into the villain, did you expect him to be like an incredible guy? Like, did you expect him to be like super amazing, nice, and centered? And no, I mean, he was a guy that was good at heart, but kind of had his problems. And he had to, because he becomes Darth Vader. Of course he had to have some issues. I think the love story was real bad. I think a lot of things in the series were not well done, but still, I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. And I enjoy watching it, and I assure you that before Episode 7 comes out, I'm going to have a Star Wars marathon, and I'm going to include the prequels, of course. And here's one that will get a lot of people angry. I'm going to watch the remastered versions. Yes. Because I'll defend those too. I'll defend those too. I'll defend the remastered versions. You know what? The remastered versions are what allowed me to get my girlfriend into Star Wars. So I will thank George Lucas for the remastered versions every day. Yes, my girlfriend had not... Oh, see you tomorrow, Mr. McAllister. My girlfriend had not watched Star Wars, and I'm pretty sure, as a person that had not watched them... Well, I mean, she did watch them, but she watched them when she was a little kid, and she didn't remember. So, hey, we live in Colombia, it's not the same. So anyway, I'm pretty sure that if I had shown her Star Wars original versions, she would not have sat through it. Like, you know, those effects really, a lot of them don't hold up. A lot of it looks pretty bad by now. Those remastered versions let us, like, show Star Wars and not have to apologize so much for them. You know, a lot of times you show an old movie to somebody, an old movie that you love, and you have to, like, spend half of the movie... you have to spend half of the movie explaining stuff. Like, yeah, you know, it's from 1977, so that's why it looks that way. And yeah, it's, you know, it's old, I get it. No, with the remastered versions, you just kind of sit down, enjoy the movie. Sometimes it doesn't look amazing, and you just go, yeah, it's an old movie. But it makes it tolerable for people that are not going to be able to appreciate the movies in spite of their age. Now, Gregory says in the chat room, one thing I didn't like in the remastered version, the added no that Vader said before he saves Luke from the Emperor. I didn't like that. No, I'll actually agree that there's plenty of stuff they added to the remastered versions that I'm, like, not entirely convinced by. I am not of that. I think it's stupid, the whole hand shot first thing. I think that's totally stupid. But I don't like it either. Like, I don't hate it. I do not give a fuck who shot first. I just think that the editing in that part is really bad. It just looks so bad. Like, if you could have made it look good, I don't care who shot first. Let Greedo shoot first. I don't care. Go ahead. I have no problem. But it just looks so bad. You know, you know, it just... The way Han moves when he dodges... Like, first of all, he dodges a laser blast. Okay, this is the Star Wars universe. Okay, you can do that. but he dodges a laser blast, and then the way he moves in that edited scene, it just looks so bad. Oh, good morning, Cyrex. So I think that's what I hate about the whole Han shot first thing. Not the fact that he shot first, but the fact that the editing in that part is just so bad. Oh, okay, look, here we have all the shading. Nice. Let's see. Very nice. Okay. Yes, yes, okay, Yodel says Jar Jar's first language isn't Galactic Common, and people make fun of him for saying things weird. I just feel it's like a douche move to rag on people based on how they speak. I actually have an article that I'm going to read right as soon as I'm done with this, and, you know, while I'm having lunch, I'll just relax and kind of read that article. But it's this really interesting article that is about how Jar Jar is supposed to be, like, the true villain in the Star Wars films when you look at it from a certain perspective. And it seems like a very promising article. I'm looking forward to reading it and like seeing what this person exposes as the proof that Jar Jar is the actual villain of the Star Wars movies and that he is not as stupid or anything as people make him out to be. I look forward to it. You guys might have seen the article. It's been around the web these past few days. Do it. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is what's going on here. This should be in. Great. This is what I needed. Okay. So yeah. So Vaughn says the added Jabba conversation looks horrible when Han steps over Jabba's tail. Totally agree. Like, those are the things I don't like about the remastered versions. That they added these parts that don't end up looking very well. Yeah, the Han shot first part was terribly edited. Stepping on Jabba's tail was not well done. Like, it was also not the best editing job they've ever done. What else? What else did they add that was not very well added? Cyrex says, I haven't kept up with laser tech, but last I checked, they need a constant beam. Well, I think that's one of the things we just kind of let Star Wars get away with. You know, like, that's... I think we all just kind of agreed that, okay, you know, so, yeah. That's just the way Star Wars does it, and, you know, we kind of all agreed to just let it slide. I've always just seen it that way. Like, you know, we don't really... Like, yes, that's not an actual laser, but whatever, that's just what they call them. I mean, if we're gonna start, like, questioning Star Wars for stuff that doesn't work, maybe we could just also start with the fact that sound doesn't, you know, travel in a vacuum, and stuff like that. But, you know, I think that's just kind of like part of the Star Wars universe. Those are lasers in the Star Wars universe, and I guess that's just the way it is. Cardinal Upchuck says that sound not being audible in space is one of the little things I really liked about Firefly. Yeah. Firefly. I do like Firefly. Okay, so we have half an hour left on this broadcast. So I'm gonna do something a little fun. You know, because I've been mostly working on, like, shading and stuff, which is probably not very fun to watch. But fortunately, I do have something fun to make. So let's do that. Okay. So let's work on... Okay, this character is on fire. His armor is on fire. So let's do that. Go like this. And this. There we go. Let me think about how I'm gonna do this fire. I think this should be here. Okay. Well, thank you, Cyrex. I'm glad you seem to enjoy it. So this guy's armor is on fire, but fire is a very interesting thing to paint. Now, what I'm using here is a little technique for making fire that I have to try. Like, I have to do a little proof of concept here first, because I have to make sure that the fire, like, looks good enough. So yeah, this guy has a fire armor. This armor is actually kind of interesting. It's supposed to heal him once a day, and all that kind of stuff. It might sound a little bit OP to some people, but then again, keep in mind that they are up against a dragon, so these are probably high-level characters. Let's do this on different... Yeah, we'll do this on different layers. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we get. I like the discussions in the chat room. They're always fun to read. But okay, let's so that's movies. That's movies. That's movies we think get a lot of unfair hate from people. We don't think they're perfect. We don't think they're amazing. We might not even think they're a good movie. But, you know, they get more hate than they deserve. So, what about music and video games? Same thing. Video games you think get unfair hate. Music you think gets unfair hate. So, come on. Wait, actually, Need this. Okay, what I did to this fire is a little trick. I don't even remember if I learned this trick or if I just kind of discovered it on my own, but okay. So what you do is you make a selection, and you come here to select, you modify, and you contract the selection. In this case, I'm going to contract it by 3 pixels, but that depends on your resolution. Then I invert the selection and delete what I don't need, and it gives it a much more natural shape. And this one here, I'm going to lower the opacity a bit. Make it a little bit more intense there. Okay, that's kind of working. So let's grab those two. Then duplicate them. Give it a little bit of a blur there. Lower the opacity. And apply a mask. Fire is very elaborate, but it's also a lot of fun to paint. I think it's looking all right. Let's see. So now I'm going to paint that fire by blocking transparent pixels, and now I'm actually just going to paint it. Adding a little bit of oranges in, and a little bit of red. Fire is very interesting because the hotter something gets, the more it tends to white. So that's why fire is redder on the outsides and more yellow on the insides and white at its very core. And that's because fire, as the heat increases, it's going to turn white. So that's also why, why it changes the colors the way it changes and all that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these and put them in a group. So that's kind of like why fire changes colors the way it does. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a very special layer. Full black layer, and put something in it called color dodge. And then, with yellow, yeah, that's going to work quite nicely. And that's just going to work very well with what I got here. Yes, indeed. So this is a layer that I added an effect to called Color Dodge. And it's going to let me make some very, very nice fire effects here. But it's important that the layer first have black. Not like just do it from nothing. It's important that, like, if I place the layer here, if you see it on normal, see it's just a black and that. When I place color dodge, it does this. But the adding of the black kind of allows it to kind of saturate some colors at the edges and stuff like that, and that looks real nice. And that gives me a very nice fire effect. So I see Cyrex says in the chat room that they're looking forward to The Division. I have to admit that The Division really just doesn't, like, it's not on my radar. I mean, I know what it is. I've seen stuff about it. Really not on my radar. I'm kind of like, okay, you know, it's a game. it's a game that I'm probably not going to play. The reason I'm probably not going to play it is because, well, you guys know me, I'm not into multiplayer games. I am not into that kind of stuff. So, you know, it might be a good game, it might not be, but I'll just leave that to people that are more interested in those kind of games. Yeah, I actually don't know what IE is either. Cyrex. So, okay, let's see. So, come on. Games you think get undeserved hate, but you love. Or you think they get undeserved hate. Like, you don't have to love them, you just think that it's not fair how much people hate them. Uh... Okay, Voltus says that for EA, he stopped buying games as Origin got out. Well, I use Origins. I don't have it installed right now, but that's because I try not to have installed games that I'm not playing at the moment. I used Origins, and actually that kind of ties in with the question I made, because one of the games I think gets a lot of undeserved hate is Dead Space 3. I mean, sure, it's not as good as Dead Space 2. Sure, it doesn't have the same atmosphere as Dead Space 1, but it's still a good game. I still thought it was very enjoyable. Okay, now I like the way the fire looks, but it's a little straight. Let's kind of curve it a little bit. Fire kind of has a little bit more movement to it. Gregory says, I got 2 games on Origin, Titanfall and Dragon Age. Titanfall is actually a game I was so sad that they just decided to make it multiplayer and that was it. Because when they announced Titanfall, I was like, yes! This is the game that I've always wanted. But then, you know, only multiplayer. And I'm like, oh, come on, guys, why do you have to try and force me to socialize all the time? Why can't I just be me? You know? I really, really am not into multiplayer games. Okay, there we have it. The fire. I think the fire looks pretty nice. I actually also tried Dragon Age Origins on the PC a long time ago, and I also thought it was kind of boring. Oh, okay. Let's see. Voltus says, is not Shadow of the Colossus underrated? No, I wouldn't agree to that. I think maybe when it came out, it was. But right now, pretty much everybody agrees that Shadow of the Colossus was an amazing game, so I wouldn't consider Shadow of the Colossus underrated. I do wish they'd just kind of get their act together and come out with The Last Guardian. But then again, I don't own a PS4, so what's the rush in my case? Yeah, no rush on my part for The Last Guardian. I don't have a PS4 anyway. And if I got a PS4 right now, my priority would be Bloodborne, so... I do plan to buy a PS4 one day, but not now. It's not within my financial capacities right now. Kaito says, I tend to play Lord of the Rings Online solo. I like that, I like that. I actually, I love Borderlands. I play Borderlands a lot, but I play solo. So I can I can kind of identify with the whole playing a multiplayer game, or a game that's meant to be a multiplayer game, solo. Because I play Borderlands solo. And I find it very enjoyable. Sirex says that he used to play WoW solo. That, I think, is even more hardcore than... Hey, Pixie, you're kind of in the way. Oh. There we go. Vaughn says, I still play WoW solo. And Gregory says, I played WoW solo too, mostly. But it's a lot more fun with friends. Oh, you have to say friends. I don't have any. I actually do, but... Hey, Pixie, what's up? Oops. Okay. Wow. I'm just surprised people still play WoW. This whole conversation, like, talking about how you guys sold WoW, I'm just surprised people still play it. Like, wow, okay. Sure. I never managed to get into WoW, but... for exactly the reasons I said, like, because I'm just not a multiplayer kind of person, so, you know, WoW really was not made for me. I did get a lot of invitations from people to get into WoW. You know, people like, and you know, who knows? Maybe actually, if I had gotten into WoW, I'd be doing different things right now. You know, way back when WoW was relevant to me, I was in Extra Life Radio, and back then they were all like getting into their WoW guild and all that kind of stuff, and that was never really a part of that. So, you know, that those kind of things actually help, like, make you distance yourself from people. You know, not because I hate WoW players or anything like that, but, you know, if you're not into the thing that they're all into, you end up kind of distancing yourself from them a little bit. Not intentionally, though. So, hello, my name is Abnormal, and today we're making a fire sword. And it's looking kind of cool. Sirex says, I really enjoyed the secret world. Lots of stuff you can solo or group up for. Completely threw the gaming genres on its face and then rode it down the mountain. I actually watched the review of... I mean, it's funny you would mention the secret world because I actually watched the review of it like a couple of days ago. There's a YouTube gamer reviewer called Accursed Farms, and he used to do a series called Freeman's Mind, which I highly recommend if you want a few laughs. Freeman's Mind is this guy plays through Half-Life 1, but he kind of does the voice of Gordon Freeman. It is hilarious. It is so much fun to watch. He plays Gordon Freeman. I mean, of course, he doesn't. It's not. It's a comedy channel. So he already completed that series, so I definitely recommend it. I was kind of watching it before it was done, so it kind of became a little bit annoying because he really was a slow uploader. So that kind of became annoying there for a while. But right now, the series is done, so I would highly recommend Freeman's Mind to anybody watching here that hasn't seen it already, because I see that somebody in the chat room has actually seen it. So yeah, anyway, he continued with his channel. He also has a Patreon in case you want to support him and not me. So support me first, and then you can support him. But anyway, he also has a Patreon and all that kind of stuff. And he has his YouTube channel. Well, he still... he continues with his projects, and he does game reviews. But he reviews, like, old games or games that are very obscure, stuff like that. And, well, Secret World is not obscure, but he kind of thought it was pertinent to review it for Halloween. And, well, I agree. So, he reviewed The Secret World for Halloween, and it was a very interesting review, you know. I had always been curious about The Secret World, so it was fun to learn about it. And, yeah, so definitely check out Freeman's Mind. His channel on YouTube is Accursed Farms. Freeman's Mind is over. It's a complete series. You can just watch it and enjoy it. A lot of fun. Especially if you're into Half-Life, because I think it's one of the most interesting Let's Plays I've ever seen. You know, it's just this guy kind of playing around with the concept of Freeman. He's a really interesting character in that series. Let's just say that. And I have to admit that now, whenever I see Gordon Freeman, I imagine this guy's voice. So, there is also that. Yodel says he got stuck with, had a bunch of problems with machinima. So he got stuck for a while. Yeah, I remember reading something about that, or listening to something about that. But also, he kind of says, like, he openly says that that making Freeman's Mind was kind of, like, really time-consuming. Apparently, like, none of that is improv. Like, none of Freeman's Mind is improv. He just kind of plans it all very carefully and stuff like that. So I would say that, you know, it would take a lot of his time to kind of make Freeman's Mind, because he had to script it, and that he's kind of like a perfectionist and that kind of stuff. And the truth is, Freeman's Mind is very well done. Towards the end, he kind of went off the rails a little bit with the story, and kind of included some of the other Half-Life games that came out. I think he includes something from Blue Shift. No, from Opposing Forces, maybe, or something like that. And some really, like, kind of obscure Half-Life stuff in there. But other than that, I mean, that's not even bad. But other than that, it's a really solid, fun to watch Let's Play. And he is a genuinely very funny guy. I'm not, like, he has other series that he's made, like with the Source engine. I don't remember the name of the other stuff he's made, but that one to me is kind of like the best. Okay, now I think this is as much as I'm gonna put fire on this guy, because like his whole armor turns on fire, but if I turn his whole armor on fire, it's just gonna be like this huge fire dude, and that's it. So, but I like it. I like the way it looks. I don't know what you guys think, but I kind of like the way it looks. Feel free to state your opinions. Well, Voltus, we are about 5 minutes away from finishing today's broadcast anyway, so it was great saying hello, and I definitely hope to see you again tomorrow. And thank you, Cyrix. I'm glad you like it. Now, the thing about this fire is that it's going to affect the lighting a lot. We definitely have to modify it a little bit here. But other than that, okay. So, I'm actually just kind of bringing this around. So, like before we cut today's broadcast, which is come on, what's going on here? Is like just 5 minutes away from finishing. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of making the color from the fire affect other parts of the image. Okay. But I like the way it's looking. It's nice. Let's see if maybe there's a better effect for this. Yeah, okay. And then with this one, we will add some extra kind of, let's see, maybe let's keep it with hard light, but make it a little bit whiter, because we're talking about what the okay. So we're gonna add some very, oh crap, okay, dramatic highlights, the different parts of the armor, specular reflection, and all that kind of stuff. The armor is always going to be like the most complicated one. But it should work nicely. Okay, so it is now 11:40. So that brings us pretty much to the end of today's show. thank you so much, you guys, for accompanying me today to work on this. I hope it was fun for you. As always, feel free to send me any suggestions, comments, or questions you might have. I will answer them on the show. You can ask them live, or you can even send them to me, and I will answer them on the show. We will be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. -5 Greenwich Meridian time. And starting next week, we will start also broadcasting in the evening. I had plans to start broadcasting this week, but I didn't take into account that as soon as you're done with certain obligations, people just kind of make new obligations for you. So I have some family dinners and stuff this week at night that just kind of make it easier for me to start broadcasting at night next week. So yeah, thank you so much, you guys, for it's difficult to stop. Okay, so thank you so much, you guys, for hanging out with me today and watching me work. Remember, if you missed this show or any of the other shows, you can. Oh, let's see this full screen, by the way. If you missed this show or any of the others, don't forget, I upload them all to YouTube, so this one should be on YouTube in the afternoon. You can watch it in case you want. I would also recommend if you're interested in hearing me talking, well, yeah, that's your business. But if you're just interested in the artwork, don't forget that on YouTube you could also speed it up. So that might be a fun way to watch. In any case, thank you guys so much. It was a lot of fun this morning. Thank you for all the topics in the chat room. Thank you, people in the chat room. Don't forget to subscribe to the Twitch channel or to the YouTube channel. And, well, I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Thank you again. It is November 4th, 2015. 11:41 a.m. -5 Greenwich Meridian time. Wow, I got mixed up on that one. See you tomorrow at 9. Catch you guys later. Let's do the thing. Later. Now we wait, and then we cut.